and then what internship you did.
So I'm Arianna, and I did the Disney Horticulture internship in 2018.
Awesome. Okay, so where are you from?
I am from Venezuela. I went to school at the University of Kentucky, and I've been here ever since.
Wow. Okay, so walk us back to like, I don't know, 10-year-old you, 5-year-old you, whenever, did you always, were you interested in like the horticulture or Disney as a young kid?
Um, well, I was always interested in Disney. My family is like a Disney family, so everyone in my family loves Disney. My sister got into marketing because of Disney. And then I think like from then on, everyone in the family has just like, oh, we like it, and so I already knew about Disney World and Disney as like whole company. And then for horticulture, I actually started as an engineering major, and then I had like my first geology class for my engineering major, and then I decided that I wanted to change to environmental sciences because it was something that like interested me more than the engineering part. So I ended up in environmental sciences, and with that you can do like so many different things, and horticulture is like one of them. So that's how I ended up there.
So for our listeners who, there's probably a lot of people who don't know what that is. I bet people ask you that, like, what is horticulture? So tell everyone what it is.
Um, Horticulture is the study of plants, so that's pretty much it. Disney has like a big plant science program, a big horticulture program. So I didn't realize it was such a big company to do that for until I started looking for internships because it was a requirement for my major to do an internship before you graduated.
Wow. So it was just the best. It was just worked out that your major and a company you loved had an opportunity for you.
Exactly.
So when you wanted to switch, like you were an engineering major and then you were like, oh, I think I want to switch. Did you get introduced to like plant sciences? Like how did you know you wanted to switch?
Um, it was just the topics, I think it was mostly like what I was studying as an environmental science person and what I will be studying as an engineering person. I was in civil engineering, and the Kentucky civil engineering, it's highly focused on like transportation. So um, going to all my classes and doing all that, I was like, I don't really like this. So I was already looking for something else, and then I started taking environmental science classes that were required for engineering, and I end up meeting people that were in my now like my major that I graduated from, um, and I think that was a part of it. They started telling me like all their stories, all their classes, what they did, and I was like, I like that way more than I like what I'm doing right now. So that's how I ended up there.
Oh, okay. See, this is a really good point. Like when some people, a lot of people start college or they don't start college because they just say, I don't know what I like. I don't know what I want to do. But I think this is a good example that sometimes you don't know until you know. Like you don't know until you try something or someone introduces you to something. So they kind of explained it to you, and it sounds like you were like, wait, that's way, like you felt way more passionate about that.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I was introduced to it. I didn't even know that was like a thing. I was like, oh, never consider it when I was going like through admissions at school because I had to give them like multiple majors to put me in just in case like I didn't make it into my um main major, which was engineering. And then I was like, I even never put it there. I didn't know this was a thing. Didn't know this was like an option. So then it took me 2 semesters only to like figure it out, which is not as bad as I know other people like figure it out so later in the game that they don't even try to change.
Totally, totally. So, okay, so you were in your major and then they said, okay, you have to have an internship to graduate. So you started looking up internships and you found Disney had one. And so or maybe someone told you about it. Was this something like, oh, I want this so bad, or was it like, oh, that'd be cool, I guess I'll apply, or were you like, I'm gonna do everything I can to get this? Like, how did it feel?
They had multiple internships. So Disney has a lot of internships that I could apply for with what I had. They have animal internships that you can do like at Animal Kingdom. They have plant science, and then they have the horticulture and all of that. And I think I applied to all of it. Um, I was like, I want a job. I mean, I didn't just apply to Disney World. I applied to multiple companies, but I really wanted to try there. And I think what like set it off for me, like nonstop trying, was um, that I had an advisor in college. He was known for being a pessimist, and he told me he was like, "You're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get that internship. So many people applied to it. You're like from the University of Kentucky. Like, you're not gonna get it." And I was like, well, now I'm going to.
Yes.
I was like, I thought I wasn't gonna get it, but now that you say it, now I'm definitely going to. So I think after that, I was like, I started like also trying to like reach out and apply to more stuff. Liam, stop. Sorry, duck. Um, but yeah, after he said that, I was like, no, like I am that set on getting this internship. So I think I applied for like 2 cycles. So I applied like the first year and then apply a second year, and then I got it on the second year. And honestly, I thought I wasn't even gonna get it. They called me. The internship started in May, and they called me for it in April.
Whoa. They're like, can you change your life plans around and come down?
Yeah.
Oh my, was this your senior year?
No, it was my junior year. Yes, my junior year.
So was it just a summer? Like how long, or was it 6 month internship?
It was just the summer. It was like May till August. I had to start school a little later than normal, and as soon as school was over, I had to like come down here.
So
But
what
it was like a loaded internship.
Yeah, I bet because I've heard some people's are longer, but maybe things changed after COVID and stuff. Um, when you got the call, so you got the call in April, and well, what did you have to do to apply? Did you have to like write an essay? Did you just do an interview?
No, so I just went online on like their regular system that you apply for like any of their regular jobs that they have, and they have like a season where they release all these internships that are like summer internships. So I applied to it and I wrote a cover letter. It's like technically not required, but I was like, I'm just gonna do the most, do a cover letter, you know. So I did like a cover letter, and then they called me for an interview, and the interview was in April. Like they did not reach out to me at all until April, and they were like, "Hey, we like you. Can you hop on an interview with us?" So then I did an interview, and then I remember it was like a call interview, and there were like 5 people on the call, which I thought was so weird. I was like, I've never had an interview where like more than one person was talking to me, and it was not like an HR person, which was what I was expecting. It was the horticulture people from the horticulture department, and it was like the person in charge of the program, and then the head of the department, and someone else was in it. But I was like, this is also kind of weird, guys. Um, and they asked me the most random questions. They were like, oh, like first thing they asked me was like, oh, do you think that you'll be able to deal with Florida heat because you're outside, it's part of your internship. And then they started asking me questions about like animals and plants and like stuff more related to the internship, and I was just like, okay, yeah. And they said after the interview was over, they were like, "Well, we will call you and let you know if you get the internship." And that was it. And I was like, okay, well, every single interview that I had until then with any company had been like, okay, we'll call you, let you know, whatever. And I was like, okay, I have no like, I was like, okay, cool. And I remember that same day, that interview was like at 9 a.m. That same day at like 4:30, like right before they had to leave their offices. They called me and they were like, hey, we want to offer you the position, but also like you have to move next month. So I was like, oh, okay.
Wow. Okay. So were you like did you decide on the call or did you say let me think about it?
They told me to think about it. And the our HR person will reach out to me.
Hmm.
So I just waited for the HR person. I had to like tell them I was like, hey, well, I have to get approved by my university, make sure that they're actually giving credit for this. I have to move stuff around, but I will definitely want like this position. So I was supposed to go study abroad for the summer in Mexico, and I had to call the university in Mexico. Well, the university I was going with was the University of Montana, so I had to call them and be like, "Hey, I need to move this, or like do something about it." So then they moved me. Like they were super accommodating. When I was like, "No, it's like for an internship. It's not like I'm not changing my mind. I need to do this internship to graduate." And that was my last summer before I had to graduate. So I told them about that, and they were like, "Okay, cool. We'll change it for you. It's fine." And then it was just like, trying to get the university to give me my credit for it and do all of that. But yeah, it was.
Oh. So you had to do some shuffling around and it worked out, but you knew you wanted to do it. And when they were asking you questions, did it feel like they were like kind of quizzing you, testing your knowledge or like about plants, or were they just like, why do you want this? Was it that type of questions?
Yeah, no, it was more like, why do you want to do this? Like, what makes you passionate about like environmental sciences? Do you like animals? So like that internship, I did not know this until I got to the to the internship. That internship they do um like part of the interns go into the actual horticulture program, and then the other part of the intern, um, they're also technically like legally they're horticulture interns, but you go into like wildlife management and pest control. So they didn't tell us that until we got there, but I mean, it just kind of like mentioned it on the thing, but it wasn't like, oh, you get divided by like a
Mm.
different department. So they asked me a lot about like wildlife and how I felt about it, and all this other things. And they asked me if I was willing to get like certified for I think it was like chemical handling, something like that. And I was like, sure, yeah, like it's part of the program, sure. But they don't really quiz your knowledge. They did tell me they were like, we will quiz you when you're here.
Mm.
And that we had to take like a final exam, like at the end of our internship.
Oh, wow. I don't know. Do you think every field does that, or is it just horticulture?
I don't know. We had to take classes every Thursday.
Oh, okay. Were they good? Like,
We
did you like those classes?
It was interesting. It was definitely like insightful, I guess. They talked about like how horticulture connects to like the magic in the parks and how they plan everything. And the department, it works with the, what's it called? The like holiday department, I guess, or special events department. So like they work with the people that change from like Halloween to Christmas, from all of that stuff. So they like tied up to that, and they're like, hey, like this is all that we do to prepare for all those holidays, and then for the festivals and um how we keep like the Disney look going on throughout the parks and throughout the hotels. And it I feel like it was a lot that we were like, oh, we did not realize that all of this going to that. And then we had like business classes that we had to take for it
Oh.
too.
So some of your classes were like about the Disney parks. It wasn't all like about wildlife
Yeah,
or
no, it was definitely not necessarily like about our internship or the topics on our internship. It was more about like how does these things that like they assume you already know, like you're in the path to um that connects to the internship. So they assume that you already know like all these things, like the science part of it. And then they're like, no, like this is how it applies, like on real life kind of deal. Um so yeah, no,
okay.
I was they took us to like all the parks and to a bunch of different resorts to like during these classes.
That's fun. They offer such good classes. I mean, when I didn't do the internship, but I did the college program, and
Mm-hmm.
I loved the classes that they offered. And it's like you said, stuff you had no idea was going on behind the scenes that you get to
Mm-hmm.
learn about, and you're like, well, some people ask me if I felt like it ruined the magic, but for me, I think it doesn't ruin the magic. I think it's like still magic when you learn what it's like even cooler. You're like, wow,
Yeah,
they have this whole operation going on.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
really nice.
I would love for you to share what was like a day in the life. Like, what did you do on your internship? You know, what were you expected to do? If especially if someone who's studying this in college might want to apply for this internship so they know what it's about.
So we were 25 interns total, um, and then 26 actually, not 25. So two of them went to ESPM complex. Holy stop!
Yeah,
Two
dog.
of them went. Yeah, he's like, hi mom. Um, two of them went to the ESPN complex and they worked with like turf and landscaping. And then the other 20 went into like the actual horticulture part of it. And then the other four went into the wildlife pest control department. And that's where I end up. That's where they assigned me. It was one of the four. So I know like it's changed since I've done the internship, like the regions and all that. So when I did my internships, it was like Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Epcot, and Coliseum. Like they had their regions, they had their hotels that they had assigned to them. So basically, in my part of my internship, they will assign you a crew that you work with. So they were like, okay, you're gonna work with the Animal Kingdom crew or the Epcot crew. So I end up in the Epcot crew, and you work with them the whole time. Like that's who you're working with the whole time. Um, they basically my day started like 4:30 in the morning.
Oh man.
It was um yeah, it was an early start, but I only worked like Monday through Friday, and I was done by like noon. Um, but I either had to like ride along with someone or I'll go up by myself. Um, they will send me to the parks, and at the beginning it was just like like follow these people around, see what they do. And we will do like restaurant inspections. We will check like um wildlife around the park, make sure there's no like birds stuck anywhere. And like I don't think I ever thought about that. I wasn't ever gonna be like, oh, like, oh, do birds get stuck here? Like,
Yeah,
no.
like what? So
Oh,
so you were looking for literal wildlife. Like it wasn't like you were taking care of like
yeah, no. I was looking for like Florida wildlife in the park. And they were like, oh, can you like go check? They had like reports that came throughout the day from like cast members, like the day before, where they will tell people like they will tell our department, there is like a bird's nest outside the store. and then we
Oh,
will have to go check and do these things. And then the thing is, there is like laws that you have to follow for all of this, and some birds you can't touch, and you're just like, well, I let me check. So you have to like do an identification for some of them, and you know, um, also make sure that the um animals are also protected. Like that's the whole point. Like you're not just like, oh, I need to get rid of the animal, but also like I need to protect this animal from, it's a high traffic zone. All these people are coming and going all the time. And then they give you a radio basically. That's like until the park opens, and then once the park opens, it's like a different life. Um, Once the park opens, you have to like be on the lookout on your radio, because they might call you and be like, hey, there is a snake over here. Like guests are going around. We need you to like try to take care of it. Or I got a call one time for like an injured rabbit.
what?
So I had to like go and try
Wait,
to
describe.
find this rabbit, and I, I had to just go and like try to find the rabbit, and like bring it in and do all the things.
Where
Do
was the rabbit?
It was like by Canada. I think like someone stepped on him. It was a baby. It was like so so cute and so like little, but it was also like I think one of the most stressful situations for me because we rarely had to deal with the public since we work so early. Um, and it was like the World Showcase had just opened. It was first thing in the morning. All these people were around. Everyone was looking at me because the rabbit was screaming. And I'm like, I swear I'm not hurting this thing. I'm trying to help it. But, people were looking at me like, oh, she's hurting. She's hurting him. I was like, oh, God. So then I like finally got it, left the area and then just like release him somewhere that he will be safer. But like, it was when you got calls in high traffic areas after like parks open, and it's a more stressful situation because a lot of the times what you're expecting. They have like codes for the animals that they are telling you to get. So you have different codes and you know what you're going into, but also you don't. Because they're like, oh, there's it's the code that they send is like a code and then it's injured, but you don't know what like is wrong with this thing. So like one time I got a bird that ran into the monorail and then just like flopped over and fell in the security area. And I was looking for it everywhere. I was like, what's going on? I don't know. I don't see this thing. And then one of the guards had it like on his hand, and I was like, sir, you can't just like grab the wildlife. Um,
So
but
would stuff
then
happen every day?
yes, there's like, I mean, there's days that are like super slow. There's um barely anything to do, and then those days turn into like paperwork days because every time you move an animal, every time you do anything, every time you do an inspection, every time literally you get a call or something, you end up having to do paperwork and you have to turn it in at the end of the week. So it was like if it's a slow day, then you get to fill out paperwork while you're like taking a break, not taking a break, but like you're not like moving around. So it was like fill out paperwork. We had like projects that we have to work on, with like for internship. They like not necessarily assigned us a project. They told us like, hey, we need you to work on a project. You figure it out. So I was studying the behavior of like the squirrels in the park. Um, Disney squirrels are different, different, different
Disney
types.
squirrels. Yes.
Um, So it was like, so I will have to work on that. Well, if there was no calls for me to take, I will just work on that and try to work on my project as best as I could so that I could have it ready by the end. Because the thing is, it's such a short internship. You have no time to do all these things. So I will work on that. I would like, okay, this is how I plan to do this, and so I could turn it in at the end of the week, and they'll be like, okay, cool, that works for us. Um, but it's not like it was not like a super busy, you're never stopping kind of deal, which I appreciated. I thought it was gonna be more like
Hectic?
taxing.
Yeah. Wait, tell us about Disney squirrels some more.
Um, so I studied just like their behavior. They're really social. They're really social animals when it comes to like when they're at the park. Um, I had to remove them from the park, so I will just like capture them in the morning, and then at the end of the day, I will go and release them. They have like Disney property is so big, they have like places that are like not developed at all. It's just like lakes and stuff. So I will just take all of them in the morning that I had from the day and just like release them somewhere else.
Oh, were they hard to catch?
I mean, you just put out a cage and they like walk into it. Some
Okay.
of them are really smart. Some of them will like literally outsmart me, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to do with this. And then after a while, they like get to know you basically because like
They
they've
come back?
seen this. Well, no, they not. Squirrels are not known to come back to like their habitat, so they kind of just stay wherever you release them. However, like the ones around, like they get to know you basically because there is like a population of them just living around a certain area, and you have to like change how you're attracting them to the cage because they know like, oh, I'm gonna get caught if I go get like peanuts.
Oh,
Um, so I didn't realize that squirrels were so smart until I started doing that. I was like, okay. And then they gave you like anything you wanted. Like they were like, okay, what do you need for this project? And they just like cooperated with it. I mean, it was good for them too. They don't really want the wildlife to be super active with guests, and that's the issue with squirrels. Once they get too social, like they'll come up to you and they'll try to steal your food. Um, so they don't want that anyway. So they were like, okay, sure, you want to take the squirrels out and put them somewhere else? Sure, we'll help you do that. But it was also nice because so Disney does a lot of like trying to study not diseases but like illnesses, I guess. Um, so they do like a chicken study with mosquitoes to check that the mosquitoes in the area are not carrying diseases, right? Um, so I end up actually doing kind of the same too with the squirrels that I had because I noticed that some of them had like bites from there's like this one um, fly that is a bot fly, so they like lay eggs on people. So they're like known for all of this. So I noticed that some of my squirrels had this issue. Um, and I started like taking notes of like where's the location for this, so that then I could talk to the team and be like, hey, like all the squirrels I've been getting from this place have butterfly bites. So then they will go and treat that zone like after hours, like when the park's closed and all that. They will go and treat that zone for those types of pests and those types of flies, so that guests don't have any issues with that.
okay. Wow. So much stuff. Like, I bet no one listening to this had even thought about that. Like, I wonder who comes and takes care of the wildlife before the park opens. Like, I hadn't even thought about that. So, this is insane. Question, what about gators?
I didn't get to deal with too many gators.
You
um,
get calls about like them being spotted?
Yeah, you get calls where they're spotted. You just kind of go look around. Um, I didn't get that many calls, I guess. Uh, but basically, we had to do ride-alongs with different people that did different things within this department. So you have people like specialized in gators. You have people specialized in like all kinds of things. Um, and we went to like the gator, and they were like, we really don't like try to interact with the gators unless they are a problem.
Mm.
Um, and then after they're a certain length, they have to call the government, and the government has to send someone from like their department and work with us to get the gator because then it's there's regulations for all of that. So it's not like, oh, we have this gator. If it's over whatever amount, we can just go get it out. No, we can't. We have to like call the government, and then they have to like come help us, and we have to fill out so much paperwork for all of this. So at the end of the day, they don't really like give you too many calls that contain gators just because they have more people that's their
Like a
job.
different department.
Hmm.
So who do you think should apply for this type of internship? Like if someone's thinking about it, what advice would you give them?
I think, I mean, that was my part of the internship. I know the horticulture part. We had to do like one day. I had to do one day of horticulture, the horticulture internship part, which was during the Flower and Garden Festival. We had to like take it down,
Uh,
and you learn more about the plants. And I know a lot of people that are really interested in like plant sciences, and it's a good internship if you're interested in plant sciences. They show you their greenhouses. You learn other things that you don't. I didn't get to learn. Um, with my part, I think almost everyone, not everyone. I had two of the girls stayed on the internship. Right after they had just graduated, they took the internship and then they offered them a full-time job.
wow.
And they love it. To this day, they're still, well, one of them is still there, one of them moved back home. But it's, if you like wildlife and if you like insects and all these other things, then it's perfect internship for you. You just have to deal with the hours, but I mean, they're not bad compared to like other hours that some of this like Disney employees pull off. So
That's true. It's kind of like pick your. I had roommates who worked, if they were working in some of the places in the parks, and there's a holiday party, then they're gonna work until 2 a.m. or something.
yeah.
Well, it's true for the plants. I mean, a lot of people don't know, but Epcot does a good job at teaching us with living with the land, right? Like how much they care about, like they're doing so much good stuff. What's the word? Like eco-friendly, environmental, like don't like chefs use some of the like herbs from there and stuff?
I think so. We didn't really work with it. Living with Elaine has their own division.
Oh, okay.
Um, we worked sometimes with them. That I had to go there sometimes to get wildlife out of there. But other than that, I know they do a lot of studies with like plants, um, like crop pests and stuff. So that is really fun. I did get to see a lot of the things in the Living with the Land. And what people don't realize, they're like, oh, they have this really big greenhouse, like the one that it's in the ride. No, they have like three more that are backstage, and they deal with so much more than what we like get to see. So it's really fun to like know that it's a company that at the end of the day they do care about like trying to care for their ecosystem and trying to come up with new things. They have like a program with the Department of Agriculture, and they do like research and stuff with them. Um, but it's it's incredible to see, and they don't just like, I know like for people that like plant sciences, it's like, oh, they are introducing like new plants to their Florida ecosystem. So like they might, I'm like, no, they study this thing. They know like everything that they're putting in. It's not gonna be invasive to Florida. Because they also like are trying to take care of their own areas and stuff. But um, there is a lot of offerings for people in environmental sciences that if you are in environmental sciences, you never looked at this and you thought, oh, they have stuff for me. They do. They have. I think they have stuff for everyone. Honestly.
That's what I've learned in just the couple interviews I've done. I'm like, there is, like, someone brought up yesterday that, like, there's an RN position for, like, the medical stuff. And I was like, you never think of that with Disney, but of course they have everything. So it's true. And yeah, the plant, I think that's a great, there's a lot, it sounds like. There's a couple different directions they could go. And do you know when the hiring season is for the internship program?
I think it starts in December. Um, yeah, I think that's when it starts. I think it starts in December. It starts December, November, around that time. You'll start seeing stuff for the summer.
Awesome. And what you're not with Disney now, right?
No, I'm not.
What's your, what's kind of your dream situation with environmental science or
I want to go into the lab. That's ultimately what I want to do. Like it's lab work, research.
awesome.
So trying to get there. Um, right now I'm a teacher, but I end up in teaching after high school, after college. So it's nice, but it's been trying to find the perfect job. Although Disney did tell me, they were like, whenever you want to come back, you can. So I think that was also really nice, like being able to, like, such a big company and then being like, you want to come back to us, you can. We'll give you a priority. You've been here before. Um, and all the people that I met during my internship that were like full-time employees, I still keep in touch with all of them.
That's awesome.
So they always tell me, they're like, hey, there's a new position. You could come and apply. And I'm like, I'm good. But soon.
Like not right now. That's awesome. Is it okay if I end with like a rapid fire Disney question for you?
Sure.
Okay, what's your favorite live action Disney movie?
Live action. Beauty and the Beast.
What is your favorite Disney hotel?
Saratoga Springs.
Ooh, I like that. No one said that yet. What's your favorite Disney restaurant?
The Artist Point at Wilderness Lodge.
Fancy. Is that the one with the character dining?
Yes, it's so good.
I'll have to put that on my list. What's your favorite Disney roller coaster?
Guardians. I wrote it yesterday.
Oh my gosh, same. It's unreal. It's so fun. It's so fun. Well, besides Splash Mountain, but I guess I can't say that right now. um, what's your favorite? My last one is well, if you were gonna go spend one full day at one of the parks, which one would you want to do that like that? Seeing as you've been to all of them a lot already.
Animal Kingdom.
Amazing. It's good vibes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
love it.
Arianna, is it okay if I put like your LinkedIn in the show description if anyone has like heard something and they want to ask you a follow-up? Could they reach out to you that way?
Yes, of course. I am working on updating it right now. So
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. And then have a good rest of your day.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.